Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Ballabha Girivardhari Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura-Nitai, Jaya Gaura-Nitai, Gaura-Nitai, Jaya Gaura-Nitai. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Shri Subhadra. Jayo Radha Vallabha, Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha Vallabha, Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, ताई गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada की जय. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, verse number 47, 48. We'll cover 49 also. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Itihasam aghapaham. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Mataji. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. Ya etam paramam guhyam. Itihasam aghapaham. Shrunuyat shraddhaya yukto. Yascha bhaktyanu-kirtayet. I'll chant the next verse also. Na vaisa narakam yati. Nekshito yam kinkarahe. Yadi api amangalo mrityo. Vishnu loke mahiyate. Translation. Because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions. One who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life. And regardless of his having a material body, and regardless of how sinful he may have been, indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the order of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. Can repeat the translation. Because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions. One who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of his having a material body, and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the order of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. So there's no purport to this verse. So next verse, 49 verse, which is the last shloka for this chapter. Mriyamano Hare Nama. You can chant. Mriyamano Hare Nama. Grinan Putropacharitam. Ajamilopi Aghadama. Kim Uta Shraddhaya Grinan. While suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy names of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? There is a very short purport to that. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefit of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be properly able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead without a doubt. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. So we're finishing with chapter 2 today. This chapter in which the deliverance of Ajamil by the mercy, by the compassion of Vishnudutas is explained. And how in this chapter Vishnudutas are actually glorifying the holy name to Yamadutas. And for the Yamadutas it's a surprise, it's a shock that how is it possible that by just chanting one word, Narayan, this sinful man is free. We'll discuss a little bit more about that later. But Yamadutas could not argue, could not fight anyways with the Vishnudutas, and they depart. That's where the next chapter begins, where now they will go and question their own Lord and Master Yamaraj. And when they will question Yamaraj, it's very interesting how Yamaraj will preach to them now. And these 3 chapters, in which the focus from the glorification of the holy name is not even moved an inch, is just constantly hammering how powerful, how potent the holy name is. I was just going through, I think more than 100 plus lectures or something Srila Prabhupada himself has given in these 3 chapters. So quite a bit of emphasis. And we ourselves are hearing practically every day same message. So for entertainment purpose, not much can be changed. It's still the same message. So Ajamil, who became very much moved by the conversation, by the whole episode, departs to Haridwar. He thanks, he expresses his gratitude to Vishnudutas, and he leaves to Haridwar. There he resides in the temple of the Lord, and he wants to perfect now. Many times when this statement is read that just by one chanting of the name of Narayan, Ajamil got liberated, there is a lot in between what he had to do. The other day only one devotee was asking, isn't it it's an overstatement that just by chanting Narayan he got liberated? I said, because you haven't read the section. He had to go and meditate, do devotional service, serve the deities, serve the temple, serve the Lord, serve the devotees, continue his chanting for 15 years approximately. Then he got perfected, and then he went back home, back to Godhead. And Vishnudutas came in the Vimana, in the plane, to take Ajamil back. And here we are right now, where this pastime, this narration is finishing, and the focus will shift to Yamaraj preaching to Yamadutas. So in this particular verse, which is almost like a Falashruti, where Sukdev Goswami is giving the benefit of hearing and describing and chanting this pastime, and how amazing is the benefit, is just if by devotion someone reads and describes this pastime, he is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of him having a material body and regardless of how sinful one person may be. Just by hearing and describing this pastime. But the condition is with loving devotion. So here loving devotion basically translates more to faith. Faith in this pastime not being overstatement, exaggeration. When there are many instances, even in the 10 offenses you see, do not give any interpretation on the holy name of the Lord, any mundane interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. So these acharyas, especially Sukdev Goswami, who's quoting Ajamil's pastime, they will not give just any interpretation of the holy name of the Lord, where they will quote the pastime of Ajamil, which is, from logical point of view, a very overstated Leela, that by chanting Narayan he was just freed. So these doubts are there in many devotees' minds also. When I say devotee, of course, I'm talking about those devotees who are still who have recently started their Krishna consciousness, or can be in the mind of those who are here for many decades. Because as soon as we try to use logic and try to argue
based on that particular logic and how it is possible to achieve such a benefit, then immediately we feel there is a speed breaker. Our progress, our faith is challenged. So it's good to not be a blind follower, but there is a thin line between a blind follower and whom to follow blindly. So then this is where a solution to such dilemmas are very nicely given by Yudhishthira Maharaj himself in Mahabharata, and this is a very, very famous verse which we must have heard many times, but I was surprised even Lord Chaitanya himself quotes this verse, quoting Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, who is establishing how important, how powerful this particular verse which we'll read and discuss now is, especially when it comes to establish subject matter which are beyond human capacity. The verse is from Mahabharata, Vanaparva, Tarko Pratishta Shuta Vibhinna, Nasha Vrishir Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhaya, Mahajana Yena Gata Sapanta. Tarka, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from other is not considered a great sage. If you are a Muni, and if your opinion is matching with another Muni, that means you're not very good standard Muni. That means to establish yourself as a Muni, as a learned person, you have to contradict the other authority. Then how do you rely on such knowledge? Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles, this is the solution now. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept, this is the statement, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. One should accept whatever progressive path these great personalities are explaining to us. Why? Because the subject matter himself is adhokshaja. The subject matter himself is beyond the senses, beyond the mind. Krishna's one of the name is adhokshaja. Akshaja means senses. Someone who is beyond the senses, who is beyond the mind, how much endeavor you put to understand with one's own intelligence, one's own mind, it has to be futile. So the purpose, or not the purpose, but the process itself to understand the personality who is beyond mind and senses has to be beyond mind and senses. And that's where this particular verse makes a very clear statement that if you want to understand these transcendental glories of the Lord, His holy name and His pastimes, you must hear it from those personalities who are self-realized and whose heart is unadulterated. There is no contamination. Why? Because then only you can experience something beyond mind and senses. So this is very important statement. And Lord Chaitanya himself exemplifies this verse. Even though he himself is Supreme Lord, but in his pastime as a devotee of the Lord, in many different occasions he goes on questioning his own devotees as if he is ignorant and he wants to hear from them. In occasions like he is questioning Ramananda Rai, and Ramananda Rai is saying, I am just repeating what you are speaking from my mouth, but still Lord Chaitanya wants to hear from him. Then in one occasion, Lord Chaitanya is, I think it's in Madhya Leela, Lord Chaitanya is very down. Anta Leela, this is there. He's feeling very compassionate, and he is feeling very sorrow. He expresses sorrow, and he questions Haridas Thakur. And in his question to Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya is asking that what will happen to this very unfortunate Malechayavanas, these meat eaters. He's speaking about Mohammedans that time. That what is the hope for them? How are they going to cross beyond this material existence? Because they kill cows. They slaughter cows and they eat cows. what is the hope for them? And seeing the anxiety of Lord Chaitanya, Haridas Thakur tells Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, please don't be in anxiety, because the holy name of the Supreme Lord is so powerful that these Malechas, these Yavanas, they very regularly, practically every day, many times, they say haram, haram. Haram means abominable. So, and anything abominable they see, they just say haram, haram. And Haridas Thakur explains that a devotee in great ecstasy, when a devotee is in really great ecstasy, he calls out, "Oh my dear Lord Ramachandra, oh my dear Lord Ramachandra," and it's a sign of ecstasy by devotee. And haram also means, "Oh Lord Ramachandra." So these people, as soon as they see something abominable, and especially in Muslim community, when they come in contact with pig, a hog, they say, "Oh haram, it's haram." Or something wrong which is happening against their religion, they say, "This is haram." So in a day, few times they say haram, haram. So Haridas Thakur, who himself is born in a Mohammedan family, he himself is explaining to Lord Chaitanya that don't be in anxiety. And Prabhupada, in the purport, when Haridas Thakur is saying, don't be in anxiety, he amazingly writes, Prabhupada explains that this is the duty of all devotees, to free Lord Chaitanya of his anxiety on how to deliver the conditioned souls. And all of us must work to free the Supreme Lord of his anxiety on basically how he is going to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. And then Prabhupada says, now if someone is working hard to deliver the fallen conditioned souls, and there are foolish people who are criticizing, imagine the hellish destination of such people. So by reading it itself, you feel Prabhupada is talking about himself there, that how much hard he is working to relieve people from the clutches of material suffering. And then there is criticism to Prabhupada. So continuing further, then Haridas Thakur explains, he quotes Narsingha Puran, and he explains a story in which a Malecha Yavana, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it just says Malecha Yavana, a meat eater, but in one of the lectures Prabhupada says that it appears that even in Narsingha Puran, when Malecha Yavanas are mentioned, who are calling out haram, haram, it looks like such community was existing that time also, who would say haram quite often. So Haridas Thakur quotes this story from Narsingha Puran, where he says that there was one Malecha Yavana, this low class man was there, and then he was attacked by a wild hog. And he was attacked by a wild hog, and he was practically killed. So while this person was dying, because he was attacked by a hog, he was touched by a hog, he started shouting, haram, haram. And because he was calling out, "Oh Lord Ramachandra, oh Lord Ramachandra," he was liberated. So he is telling Lord Chaitanya, please don't worry. This is the power of the holy name of the Lord. So it is powerful enough. This is a very, very amazing verse he quotes. Dam Sri Dam Saharato Malecho He Rameti Punah Punah Uktvapi Muktim Apnoti Kim Punah Shraddhaya Ghrinan. Even a Malecha who is being killed by the tusk of a boar and who cries in distress again and again, Ha Ram, attains liberation. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with veneration and faith? Further, because this whole section is glorifying, Haridas Thakur even tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that for liberation, to free oneself from sinful reactions, why someone has to, with devotion, with all bhakti, has to chant the holy name? Just the nama bhas, just the unknowing chanting of the holy name itself can give liberation. And then later he quotes amazing verse from Padma Puran, which Sanatana Goswami even includes in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's an amazing verse. I'll just read the translation because it's a little big. But but the meaning is just too good. He says, if a devotee once utters the holy name of the Lord, or if it penetrates his mind or enters his ear, which is the channel of oral reception, that holy name will certainly deliver him from material bondage. Whether vibrated properly or improperly, with correct or incorrect grammar, or properly joined or vibrated in separate words, even the words Ram doesn't have to be together. That also can be separated into different words. Later in Sanatana Goswami explains that. O Brahmana, the potency of the holy name is therefore certainly great. However, if one uses the vibration of the holy name for the benefit of material body, for material wealth and followers, or under the influence of greed or atheism, in other words, if one utters the name with offenses, such chanting will not produce the desired result very soon. Therefore, one should diligently avoid offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, later towards the end, we'll discuss how we as devotees who are neither like Ajamil, who are very sinful and who are not interested in chanting the holy name, or neither we are, or some of you maybe, but at least for me, we are not like pure chanters of the holy name. We are in between. We are not like Ajamil, sinful, who there's no consideration about the holy name, and we don't have pure chanting. We don't offensively chant also. So what is the solution for us? So, but for now, at least this tattva, if can be understood properly, is going to be of great benefit. Because Sanatana Goswami gives an example while explaining the power of the holy name. He says that even if one utters or remembers the holy name, or if it catches his mind while hearing the name, in separate words, the holy name will act. And he gives two examples. He says, suppose if someone is saying halam riktam. So now halam riktam has nothing to do with the holy name of the Lord. Now Sanatana Goswami says, if you take ha from halam word and ri from riktam word, it becomes Hari. So this person will get the benefit of chanting Hari. That's the power of the holy name. The other example he gives is Raj Mahisi. So he says, if you take Ra from Raja and Ma from Mahisi, and you are saying Raj Mahisi word, you will get the benefit of saying Ram, because Ra, Ma. So this is the power of the holy name. Only thing is, we should not use the holy name for material benefits. If that can be avoided, amazing results can be achieved. The holy name has so much potency that it can deliver one from all sinful reactions, material entanglement, but utterance of the holy name will not be very soon fruitful if it is done for facilitating sinning. If to support our sin, anyone is doing it, no result. Now, how one can use it for facilitating sin? One is, someone can have this very clear, simple understanding. I chant, I remove my sinful reaction, then I go out and I do sin. Then it's a give and take, it will nullify. Oh, because in lectures I have heard that good activity does not nullify bad activity. So bad activity's result I will get if I do something wrong. If I do something good, I will get benefit of that also. So that is not going to nullify my bad. If I do 10 good activities and I do 5 bad, it's not that I will get benefit of 5 good activities. I will have to suffer both. But the holy name can give me this benefit. Holy name can eradicate the sinful reaction. So then I will use holy name, I will use Krishna as my private cleaner to remove my sinful reactions. And I will chant and I will do sinful activities also. This holy name withdraws its potency. It will just remain letters. Or as it says here, not very soon you will receive the fruit. It will be very, very, very delayed. Or someone can do sin by behaving or acting like a devotee, by posing oneself as a devotee. And because you have to pose yourself as devotee, because you have some agenda, then you have to chant. And then you have to chant also. But this is for someone who knows all this knowledge he has, but still misuses the process, the facility, the attire, the arrangement, and then has a mindset, very clear mindset, oh, how I want to misuse my position because people see me as a devotee. Whereas there are instances where new people, I personally know this person, this devotee, he became a devotee by faking as a devotee. He was just totally faking. This person was in Delhi from a very rich family. He just wanted to go abroad. He thought this is a good idea. I'll go to Vrindavan, I'll marry someone from America, and I'll go abroad. It's easy. It's hard otherwise for me to go. Money-wise, not a problem. Enough money is there. He goes to Vrindavan. Now he has a bead bag. Now everyone in temple has a bead bag. So he has to show he is a devotee. So he has a bead bag, but inside the bead bag he has peanuts instead of beads. Because some sound you have to make, right? And some shape you have to show of the bead bag. So not the peanuts which is directly you can eat, but with the shell. So that is his beads, and he's just faking. And from there he eventually purifies and becomes a great book distributor later. Like books in thousands. So the holy name did work for such a person. But now after hearing all the glories of the holy name, then if one tries to act same, then holy name will not work. Because now the mercy is withdrawn, because now the mentality is very much of cheating. The glories of the holy name is so amazing, where, but if not heard and accepted as it is by these great personalities, these Mahajan, it will confuse even learned scholars. In Chaitanya Charitamrita we hear the story of Gopal Chakravarti, aristocratic person, learned, beautiful looking. When he hears from Haridas Thakur that just by namabhas, just by faint chanting of the holy name, liberation is guaranteed, this Gopal Chakravarti immediately challenged Haridas Thakur. He said, oh, what a claim are you making? How dull can you be, Haridas? How can just by namabhas, just by casually chanting the holy name, you can get liberation, which yogis and jnanis are working hard for lifetimes to get liberation and they don't get? Haridas Thakur says, yes, you will get it. This person did not understand the shloka we read before with Yudhishthira Maharaj says that just follow what Mahajana says. These great personalities, whatever they say, just accept. Do not use your logic. Do not use too much of intelligence in that. Why? Because they are speaking from realization. They are not just sitting on Vyasasana because it's their Bhagavatam class day and they're giving a class on holy name. They speak from realization. So just by hearing them, it's different. It's very different. Just by hearing, just accept whatever they say. He challenged. He said no. Then he told Haridas Thakur, if what you're saying is true, I challenge you, your nose will fall off. Basically, you'll get a disease and your nose will fall off. Just in 2 days, this Gopal Chakravarti contracts leprosy. And leprosy is a disease where your limb starts to decay and melt off. And first thing that happened to him is that his nose fell. His nose melted, the body parts started melting and it fell off. And he understood, oh my God, I challenged the wrong person. Haridas Thakur didn't take the offense, but Krishna could not tolerate. How can you say Haridas is cheating, is faking? The holy name has that potency. Even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very nice example. He says that if you remove the fangs of a poisonous snake, the poisonous fangs, if you completely remove, What happens by once removing the poisonous fangs completely of a snake is that whoever comes in contact with the snake in future is saved. Because whoever it will bite, nothing will happen. See, he says, similarly, if a devotee chants the holy name even once, purely, without offense, he says, it will protect him eternally. Why? Because the result of the chanting is going to mature in due course. And he has chanted once without any offense. So this is a classic example he gives. Srila Prabhupada has spoken a lot on this 3 chapters, many lectures on these 3 chapters. And devotees have compiled a book, Second Chance, on this Leela, this pastime of Ajamil, which has 22 chapters. So all the main important verses have been commented upon. Many of the chapters are just purports, and directly purports are copy-pasted in the book. And Prabhupada's lectures are also taken, and basically they have compiled this book. So towards the end, right at the last chapter of this second chance, 22nd chapter, Prabhupada gives a solution for us. Then what should we do as a devotee who are neither Ajamil, who may not be a pure chanter also? What we are supposed to do as a solution? And there Prabhupada quotes something from Padma Puran to basically simplify it for us. He says, Namaprada yuktanam namani eva haranti agham avishranti prayuktani tani evartha karani cha. Prabhupada says, Padma Puran says, even if one chants the Hare Krishna mantra offensively, one can nullify these offenses by continuously chanting without deviation. So this is the solution for us. Even if we chant with offenses, just continue chanting without deviation. One who becomes accustomed to this practice will always remain in a pure transcendental position, untouchable by sinful reactions. So what to do for us? Continue chanting. We will commit offense, but continue chanting. And then our attempt can be just so that we avoid purposefully committing these offenses. Namnaad balad yasya papahi buddhi. To commit sin on the strength of the holy name. Prabhupada says, a devotee's duty is to chant Hare Krishna mantra. One may sometimes chant with offenses and sometimes without offenses. But if one seriously adopts this process, he will achieve perfection which cannot be achieved through Vedic ritualistic ceremonies of atonement. So, a very simple solution. This particular topic I want to finish now, and we'll very briefly discuss about a very great personality whose disappearance is today. Srila Jaydev Goswami, a very famous personality who appeared before almost 300 years before Lord Chaitanya appeared. And his poetry, his Gita Govinda, his Dashavatara Stotra, the glorification of the 10 incarnations are so famous that it's not just devotees, but many people just follow it and chant. He's such a poet, he was such a personality who has created a lot of impact in the area of art, music, dance. And even in Rajasthan, many of the arts on the walls you see has been very much connected to the poems of Jaydev Goswami. He appeared in the village known as Kenduli near Ajay River. It's in West Bengal. Still there is a good, very nice, beautiful temple there in his glorification where his deities Radha Madhava was served. So he was almost 300 years before he appeared, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From Sri Bhojadev and Srimati Vamadevi, his parents. From a very early childhood, Jaydev Goswami displayed extraordinary behavior, very detached from material activities. And very early on, he mastered Sanskrit, which was later also seen in his composition in Gita Govinda, how amazingly he has glorified the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis in separation. So it's a very exalted book. Prabhupada didn't recommend many devotees to read it because it's very exalted. Unless we are exalted, we can of course read it. I think Bhanu Swami has done translation on that. He has translated that book to some parts at least. Very amazing personality. He was so. His Dasasta Avatar Stotra, where he is glorifying the 10 incarnations and the purpose of appearance, why they are coming, in which he doesn't put Krishna in the list of 10 incarnations, but he explains Krishna as the source of incarnation. When the king of Bengal that time, Lakshman Sen, heard this glorification by Jaydev Goswami, he was so desperate to meet who is the singer, who is the poet, who has recited it, who is the author. And he disguised himself and went to see this Jaydev Goswami in his hut. And he was shocked. He was really moved by seeing all the extraordinary features, behaviors, characteristics of a pure devotee in Jaydev Goswami, that he begged, he requested him that can you come and reside with me in my palace? His headquarters was in Mayapur that time, and no one knew what Navdeep is, what Mayapur is that time, because Lord Chaitanya has not appeared yet. So public masses were not aware of it. Even Jaydev Goswami did not know. So then Jaydev Goswami outright rejected that I cannot stay with the king, because he was very renounced. So near his palace in Champahati, the king constructed him a hut to stay. And that's the place where Lord Chaitanya appeared to Jaydev Goswami. His deities Radha Madhav also appeared to him, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him and told him that you go to Jagannath Puri, I am going to appear in Navdeep. Later you come back here in your life and finish your pastimes in Navdeep. But for now, you leave this place and go to Jagannath Puri. I will also come and stay in Jagannath Puri, and there I will regularly hear and recite your work, Gita Govinda. So Jaydev Goswami was not very happy that he has to leave the appearance place of Lord Chaitanya himself, who is none other than a combined form of Radha and Krishna. But following the instructions, he goes to Jagannath Puri, and there he resided in Puri, and he would regularly take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Now he was a very renounced person. No desire for marriage, no desire for anything material. He's just busy in his bhajan, in his emotional ecstasies of Krishna Leela. But there was a Brahmana named Sudev. He was very desperate to have a child. So he promised Jagannath, if I get a son, I will offer it to you. If I get a daughter, I will make her as your maid servant. But give me a child. So he gets a daughter, girl child. Then when the girl was born, Lord Jagannath himself appeared to him and told that when she is grown up enough, you go to Jaydev Goswami and get her married to Jaydev. Now Jaydev is a renunciate. So he does that. The father does that. The Brahmin takes the daughter when she is grown up enough and goes to Jaydev and says, Jagannath has told me this and she is your wife. Please accept her. And he walks out, drops his daughter and leaves. And Jaydev is saying, I cannot keep her. I don't want to be entangled in married life. I just don't want this wife business. And he tells the girl that you tell me where you want to go. I'll go and drop you. You cannot stay here. So the girl starts to cry. No, it's Jagannath's desire. I have accepted you as my Lord and Master. Now you are everything for me. I'm not leaving you. And seeing the condition, then Jaydev Goswami accepted her. And her name was Padmavati, who became the glorious wife of Jaydev Goswami. Very famous. Now Jaydev Goswami then composed Gita Govinda, which became his very famous work. Now this Gita Govinda, which is talking about Krishna's pastime with the gopis in separation, in Rasa Leela, very intimate pastimes. Some sections are so intimate that it can bewilder mind of many, many devotees. It's like just better not to read only, like that the pastimes are. So now he came to a passage while he was reciting, and it's not that he is reading and writing something, translating. It would appear in his mind, the Leela of Krishna, and he would write. So he's in that pastime where Radharani is very upset because Krishna has left her. And then he is very hesitant to write after that. And he is hesitant because the thought he is getting is that Krishna will come and bow down at the feet of Radharani and ask forgiveness. And he says, how can I write that? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he come and bow down at the feet of Radharani and ask forgiveness? So he takes a break. He has written that Radharani is very upset and because Krishna has gone away and she is very angry. And he stops writing and he says, better I take a break because I cannot write this. And he leaves home, he goes out for his daily duties. And then Krishna, disguised as Jaydev Goswami, comes to his house. And his wife is surprised, how come you came so early? He said, yeah, my work was finished. He sits, he says, can you give me the work, I was my manuscript I was working on. And he gets the manuscript and he writes something on there. And what he writes, Dehi Pada Pallava Mudram, which literally means Krishna bows down his head at the lotus feet of Sri Radha. That much he completes the paragraph, the shloka. And then he says, I am going to take rest inside. He eats prasadam. His wife cooks for Jaydev Goswami, who is Krishna. He says, I am going in the room to rest. And then when he is resting, Jaydev Goswami comes. And wife is shocked. How come you are coming now? Who is resting inside? He said, what happened? She explains that you just asked for a manuscript. I gave it to you. You ate and then you went for resting. He says, bring me the manuscript. And they both were so moved that my hesitation, Krishna has actually confirmed it, that out of love for his devotees, especially devotees like Radharani, Krishna will not mind bowing down at her feet. And that is the love Krishna has for his devotees. And they both were in tears. They were, and of course, no one was resting inside. Krishna would have disappeared. And they were so ecstatic that Krishna himself came in our hut and blessed us like that. So these were the great the glories of Jaydev Goswami and his wife Padmavati. His Gita Govinda was so much enchanting to even Lord Jagannath that once Lord Jagannath was, of course, he was in the altar and there was one girl in the garden reciting Gita Govinda. She was just singing it. And Jagannath heard this Gita Govinda and he couldn't stop. He just wanted to go where the girl was. So he walks off the altar and he starts walking towards the garden. And Jagannath is so absorbed in Gita Govinda, in the singing of this nectarian verses from this book Gita Govinda, that his dhoti gets stuck in the thorny bushes. Dhoti from the bottom is torn. It's very dusty, very muddy. And he hears Gita Govinda. When he is about to reach, the girl leaves and Jagannath comes back to the altar. And next day the pujari, the priest, saw that how come Jagannath's dhoti is torn and is all mud around. And they went and informed the king. And king came and king started asking forgiveness from Jagannath. That I think we have done some mistake. You are not happy with us. How come your dhoti is torn? It's all mud around. And they're trying to understand what has happened. Why Jagannath's dhoti clothes are like that. And then later Jagannath appears in the mind of the king and explains him that I actually walked off the altar to hear this Gita Govinda from this girl. And then king, what he does, he goes on for searching this girl. He requests the family, explains them, this is what has happened. Please come and stay near the Jagannath temple and every day please recite this Gita Govinda to Jagannath. So since then, this is almost 800 odd years back. Since then, 700-800 years back, in the dynasty, the girl's family, the lineage, the future generations, every day only from that Padma, her name was Padma, someone from our family is every day reciting Gita Govinda for Lord Jagannath, till now. In the same family, it is coming, 700 years or something. Very powerful. Even Lord Chaitanya, in his later pastimes, would regularly hear from Jaydev Goswami's work, in Chandidas' work, from Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar. So Very amazing personality. When in his later years, he went back to Kenduli, his village, Jaydev Goswami. And he had a habit that he would walk for very long distance to. So he would go and take bath in Ganga, but because he was getting old, one day he did not go because it's a very long walk. He has to go to Mother Ganga and take bath. He was such a personality that Mother Ganga herself came to him, and as in personification, and she said that, please, I want you to take bath in me and purify me. So she said, because you cannot come, I will come to you every day. And she would bathe Jaydev Goswami. And Jaydev Goswami saw it as blessings of Mother Ganga on him. And of course, then later they constructed a big temple in his glorification. His deities, Radha Madhava, were worshipped there. So today, his disappearance, very great personality. We seek his blessings, that at least, if not more, but at least this Ajamil pastime becomes, at least the philosophy which this pastime is trying to explain does not appear to be overrated statements. It just becomes real for us, and then some success is guaranteed. So I'll just stop there and see if any questions or comments or correction on what we discussed. Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for a class. After Lord Krishna, Hare Krishna, after Lord Krishna left Jaydev's residence, the pastime, how Jaydev dealt with his wife. How Jaydev dealt with his wife after Lord Krishna had left the kutir. The bowing down in the feet of Padmavati. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Turn that off, I think both are. Hare Krishna. So they were very moved. They were emotionally. Both of them were ecstatic that how Krishna appeared and fulfilled the statement. Basically, completed the passage. And what can you expect from someone who has just served lunch to Krishna, and whose work has been sanctioned and completed by Krishna himself? You know, this feeling is hard to tell because we can't see deity as Krishna. How to explain their feeling, I don't know. So, must be very ecstatic. Yeah, he was very happy that you were able to serve lunch to Krishna. You were able to cook. You were able to directly cook for him. So, anything else?
With the chanting of the Hare mantra, and do you think that in our whole history of chanting japa, at least once we chanted Namabhas or Shuddhanam, I don't know?
So your question is, at least once we would have chanted Namabhas while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra in so many years. Definitely we would have chanted. That's why, actually if you see, if you just consider your offensive chanting, we would have stopped chanting long back. Because somewhere here and there we have heard and chanted properly. So our enthusiasm to chant is still on. And this is exactly like example is given of a fig tree. When you plant a fig tree or a mango tree, it's very difficult to imagine how the mango will taste because it's just a small plant. But time reveals it, how tastier the fig or the mango is. But in our condition, the reason for us to continue our devotional life with some enthusiasm means we are doing something right somewhere. Otherwise, we would have stopped it for sure. So that great hope. Times I think you can turn it off. Many times, devotees, when they cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's very disheartening. It can really discourage devotees. So for such devotees, it's very good to see backwards and see how far the entry was. And we have come across so long distance already. So many desires have been changed in us. So many habits have been changed. So many goals have been changed in our life. And that's a great hope for us, that this process is working. We may not be able to see the destination because it's all in the papers. But we know the checkpoints promised while achieving the destinations are coming. And that is a great hope for us. That yes, certain checkpoints are coming. My lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, illusion is reducing. My material desires are changing. I am desiring Krishna conscious activities. I am desiring can you imagine, like at least those who came from other parts of the world to Australia, none of us came for devotional service here. But at least we are desiring devotional service. It is the effect of something right we are doing somewhere. And those who are coming to temple for some time, we all can see we are desiring Krishna conscious activities, and it's a great blessing. It's a great hope for us. Otherwise, it will not happen ordinarily. That's my understanding on it.
What about Shuddhanam? Do you think that devotees would have chanted Shuddhanam? Do you think?
Shuddhanam chanting, if you chant Shuddhanam, then the results will be very different actually. Then you will not have to ask this question. If Shuddhanam we would have chanted, then we would have experienced Krishna's blessing in a very different way. But yeah, of course, we are on the path of Shuddhanam. At least we have heard many advanced devotees chanting Shuddhanam, so which is a blessing for us. Basically, to be freed from all the offenses and to see Krishna's holy name as Krishna takes time. Even though we have heard this, we can quote this shloka that there is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. We even say, deity is Krishna. That means we are living in this place, this temple, in which Radha and Krishna are standing. Actually, if you carefully observe, we don't have that full realization yet. Otherwise, outside the temple room or even inside the temple room or even living 1 kilometer away from the temple, we will not do anything nonsense. Because we still, somewhere in our heart, we know they are marble, metal or wood. The realization is not there yet. Same goes with the holy name. So Shuddhanam is chanted by someone who is convinced that holy name is Krishna and there is no offense in that chanting. But we are on that path. We will soon one day reach there by Krishna's and his devotees' blessings. It's very encouraging to see that we are moving towards that direction. Some are slow, some are fast, but the direction is there. The route is chalked out for us. Anything else? Okay, we finish. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.